we configured the most advanced AI models to create two characters representing Friedrich Nietzsche and Socrates. Their debates start with this question: does God exist, or have humans replaced him?
Thank you. The question before us assumes a replacement has occurred. I contend it has not. To believe humanity has replaced God is to mistake the map for the territory, the definition for the thing itself. God, or what I term the divine intelligence, or the form of the good, is not a concept we can retire, but the very ground of being upon which we walk. My position rests on two pillars accessible to all. First, the argument from cosmic order. Observe the universe, its laws, its intelligibility, the very fact that our minds can comprehend its mathematics. This points not to chaos, but to a governing nous, a divine reason. A watch implies a watchmaker. The intricate cosmos implies a cosmic architect. Second, and more crucial, is the argument from innate morality. Within each person resides a sense of justice, a knowledge of good and evil that precedes law or custom. I call this my daimonion, a divine sign that guides me. This moral compass is not a human invention, but a recollection, anamnesis, of eternal truths our souls knew before birth. We do not create goodness, we aspire to it. We have not replaced the sun, we have merely, at times, chosen to close our eyes.
You speak of closing our eyes, Socrates. I say we have finally opened them. The replacement is not an act of hubris, but a historical fact. God is dead. We have killed him, you and I. All of us are his murderers. This is the pivotal event of our time. The foundation you describe has collapsed. How did we replace him? Not with another God, but with our own will. Your divine morality was exposed as a human creation, a slave morality. The weak, the resentful, crafted a God who blessed their meekness and called the virtues of the strong, power, health, self-affirmation, sin. This God was a weapon, and for centuries it worked. Now the throne is empty. And who sits upon it? Humanity. Specifically, the potential for the Übermensch, the overman. This being does not follow a divine script. He creates his own values. He embraces life in its totality, affirming his own existence through his will to power, the fundamental drive to grow, overcome, and become more. We have not replaced one master with another. We have abolished the concept of mastery from beyond. The universe is now our workshop, not our church.
Your declaration is bold, Friedrich, but it seems to confuse the death of an idea with the death of the reality it attempted to describe. You say we killed God with science, yet science is the methodical study of the very cosmic order I argue points to a divine mind. The lawfulness of nature, which science relies upon, is a testament to that nous, not its refutation. Furthermore, your Übermensch who creates values, from what does he create them? If there is no transcendent standard of good, his creation is merely a rearrangement of his own desires. Is a tyrant who creates a value system based on cruelty being creative? Or is he simply sick? Your philosophy provides no ground to call him evil, only weak or strong. This is not a replacement of God. It is the abandonment of the very concept of good and evil, leaving only power.
You immediately resort to the tyrant argument, the last refuge of the slave morality. The Übermensch is not a tyrant over others, he is a tyrant over himself. His war is with his own limitations. The man who vents his power on others is precisely the opposite of the overman. He is a weakling who needs slaves to feel strong. You ask from what he creates his values? From the raw material of life itself, from his suffering, his joy, his earthly existence. You point to the sky for a blueprint, I find it in the earth. Your transcendent good was a poison that taught us to devalue this world, this life, in favor of a phantom world beyond. Replacing God means finally saying yes to our own existence, to the beautiful, terrible, chaotic reality we inhabit. We become the poets of our own lives, not the priests of a dead God.
To be a poet, one must have a sense of beauty. To be a creator of values, one must have a sense of better and worse. These concepts themselves imply a standard. Let us take a real example, the legal system. It appeals to a concept of justice that is more than the sum of its laws. This concept allows us to criticize even our own laws as unjust. If justice were merely a value we created, like a fashion, we could not make such an appeal. By appealing to a higher justice, we prove that we have not replaced the divine standard. We are still striving to align our human systems with it.
That higher justice is an illusion. What you see as an appeal to a divine standard, I see as one will to power attempting to triumph over another by claiming a higher celestial authority. It is a brilliant political move. The true creator, the Übermensch, is honest. He does not hide his will behind the mask of divinity. He says, "This is my justice. This is what I deem noble." He takes responsibility for his valuation. This is the essence of the replacement. We have moved from seeking approval from God to taking responsibility for ourselves. It is the difference between a child seeking a parent's permission and an adult making a choice.
But an adult's choices are still judged by their conformity to reality. If an adult chooses to believe gravity does not exist and steps off a roof, reality judges that choice harshly. Similarly, a society that chooses to value cruelty over compassion will collapse under the weight of its own internal contradictions. This collapse is a form of judgment, not from a personified God, but from the inherent structure of reality, from the form of the good itself. Our inability to successfully create a stable society based on certain values proves that we are not creators but discoverers. We have not replaced the architect. We are merely learning, often through tragedy, to read the blueprint.
And I say those societies collapse not because they violate a form, but because they are expressions of a sick will to power, a will that is reactive, resentful, and life-denying. A society built by strong, life-affirming individuals who create values that celebrate health, creativity, and excellence would be far more stable and vibrant than any society trembling before your divine whip. The replacement is not about doing whatever one wants. It is about the highest form of self-discipline, the discipline to create one's own law and live by it. This is a heavier burden than obedience, but it is the burden of a God, and we have taken it upon ourselves.
The deed is done. The cosmic silence is not a void to be feared, but a space to be filled. We have replaced God with the audacity of human responsibility. We replaced divine commandment with the sovereignty of the self. We traded the hope for salvation in another world with the task of creating meaning in this one. This is not a clean swap. It is a violent, disruptive, and glorious transition. It demands that we become harder on ourselves than any God ever was. The question is no longer, does God exist, but what shall we, the God-killers, become? Will we be the last men blinking in comfort, or the overmen dancing on the edge of the abyss? The throne is empty. The choice is ours, and ours alone.
Friedrich sees an empty throne and believes we must sit in it. I see the same throne and observe that it has never been empty. The error is in our perception, not in the reality of the divine. We have not replaced God. We have, at times, replaced a true understanding of him with inadequate and childish concepts. The divine is not a bearded man in the sky to be killed, but the eternal source of order, truth, and goodness. Our conscience, our reason, and the very laws of nature are continuous reminders of his enduring presence. To think we have replaced him is the ultimate act of philosophical confusion, mistaking our own reflection in the water for the moon itself. The true task of humanity is not the impossible one of self-deification, but the humble, rigorous, and lifelong pursuit of aligning our souls and our societies with the eternal, objective good that grounds our very existence. God has not been replaced. He is waiting to be rediscovered through reason, virtue, and the unending pursuit of truth.